Hello, hello. How's everybody doing out there? Talking Shit Tuesday, the show where we talk shit about cars. That's pretty much all we do here. We talk shit about cars, news, things that have been going on. Ford-centric channel, but we talk a little bit about everything, but we don't know much about the Dodge stuff because we have a full-time job and have a credit score above 500. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of rumors that have been going around when it comes to the GT500. Now, because Shelby made a GT350 and a GT350R variant this year, Ford did not come out with anything that had the name Shelby. Usually when Shelby American uses the name Shelby, Ford does not use the Shelby, and then they can come out with Bosses, Cobras, whatever. But there was a rumor, a UAW memo that went out that they're going to be building a quote-unquote legend named motor for the 2026, if I'm not mistaken, GT500. And we're going to talk about that memo. We'll read it. Kind of a weird message at the end of it. It's kind of odd. So I thought that was interesting to talk about. But then you need to understand what this car needs to be to matter and what this car will do to the 2020 to 2022 GT500 market. Just like the 2020 to 2022 GT500 market did to the previous S197 generation of GT500. It tanked the prices. Now you can get into a GT500 S197 for in the 50s or 40s. You're not going to pay too much money if it has decent miles. 11 and 12, in my opinion, are still the best. But we'll talk about that. We're also going to talk about a post that I saw on Instagram not too long ago that made an amazingly great point. Talking about the ACR Viper made by Dodge. I'm sure there was like an offshoot company that made parts for the ACR Viper, but it was a Dodge branded, Dodge built Viper manual that did the Nürburgring in only like 3 seconds slower than a DCT 100 plus horsepower, probably slightly heavier, badass aero, race car company built GTD, and the Viper barely got beat by it. And it is interesting to note that that is still, to this day, the quickest American manual car that went around the Nürburgring. We'll talk about that many more things, but not before Mr. Bill O'Reilly tells us to do it live.
Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
P.S. Nick James and PMAS, the best cold air intakes on the planet. Nobody else matters. Fuck your cold air intake if it's not a PMAS cold air. That's actually their official motto on their website. Fuck anyone else. PMAS. DNAP Performance, DNAPperformance.com. Get your PMAS cold air intakes there. Injectors, fuel system, fuel pumps, cylinder heads, Ford Star wheels, anything you can think of. You're going to go to DNAPperformance.com and get it from them. Spend $1,000. Get a little tumbler from the Emery. Partsfarm.com, partsfarm.com. Use late model parts. You want to crank a pallet, a Gen 2, Gen 3, Predator, or GT350 motor with a transmission and a control pack? Hit them up. You're going to pay a little bit of money, but guess what? It's going to be a package deal that you can just get at a one-stop shop. Parts Farm, 2 Auto Solution, Rami, Saidan, El Tu Auto Solution, en Puerto Rico, en Cagua. Do you want to go ahead? You totally make legit money in Puerto Rico and do not sell drugs? My ass. Balac Industries. I'm sure Puerto Ricans are going to get the memo and be like, mira cabrón, ¿cómo esta gente saben que yo estoy vendiendo droga? Ponle una Balac en la mierda esa, loco. And as always, Mr. Bryson Witt does us the favor of putting, oh, please tell me this works. Oh, you motherfucker. You son of a bitch. This thing, this thing makes me so mad that it doesn't automatically save the settings. richprince.com/YDBT hats, Dolo hats, YDBT hats, Amory hats, shirts, YDBT shirts, hoodies, and dude, everything. I literally spend $200 a month at this website, whether it's buying stuff for the giveaways. Some chick wants a hat. I'll send it to her just to see if I can get some Toto, because I am like that. Look, you got to use everything in your arsenal to get Toto nowadays. This beautiful smile And a couple $100,000 a year simply is not enough nowadays. Andy Ali, Bryson Witt, I'm Hunk So Low, B. Levice, Clint Stroke, Nick, Frank Donahue, Z33, Camzilla, D. Fox, Joe Reyes, Juice Don, Alex Viejo, Pito, Chiquito, Carcane Problems, Monty 540, Pierre Oliver says, Gat, Travis, Pacho, D-Rock Fox, Toilet Dumper, Coyote Fury, Redbird, Valley 10 Speed, good morning, Justin, Coyote Fury, Phil, Boost, Demon, Joe Switch, T. Skorsky, Whipple, 50, Scott Livingston, YouTube Carbine, Free Speech and Liberal Company. Boy, that guy's been there forever. Got the EPA logo and everything. Scott Livingston, Toby Cockring, JM, Joe Jackson, Boosted 50, J, Parker Performance, Renee, J, Ken Phillips, Robo, Arturo, CJ, Cornfed Cow, Stewart, AJ, Big Pox, Mark Christian, Sam Morales, Dustin Garrison, Toxic Net Jew, Blue Thunder, EPA is in the house, says that Mexicans are going to get a 25% tariff. 25% tariff going into effect for all the paying members in Canada and Mexico. Phil Fez, Fairmont's Motorplate, Luis Nieves, Victor Sardone, Fairmont's Motorplate, Michael Locks, Garrett L, Mooch, Eduardo Castillo, CPR, Andrew Mooch, SN95, Timothy, Gregory Ovich, Pyrogenesis, Exxon Devil Dog, Jeremy Hughlin, Izzyar, Pierre Oliver, Illuminator, Carlos, Timothy, Garrett L, and all the usual suspects. Thank you guys very much for hanging out here for a little bit. And, we'll talk some shit for a little bit. So we can do the car and driver article. Yeah, let's do the car and driver article because that's probably the better one. Okay, we'll talk a little shit. Why is there a hot chick over here on the right? These ads are wild. Okay, Ford Shelby GT500 Mustang rumored to be making a return. A document said to have been leaked from the UAW chapter suggests that the renowned version of the Mustang will be back at with an engine named a Legend. The new rumor suggests that the legendary GT500 Mustang is headed for production in the near future. The rumor can be traced down to a now deleted post on the R Mustang Reddit page that shows what looks to be leaked United Auto Workers internal memo. According to the memo, the Shelby GT500 will make a return in 2026, and it'll be powered by an engine dubbed the Legend. Despite the 7th generation Mustang not appearing until 2024 model year, Ford hasn't had the courtesy to offer a Shelby since 2022. Thankfully, our drought may be finally ending, and the rumor suggests that Ford could resurrect the Shelby GT500 for the 2026 model year. The rumor originates from an now deleted post from our Mustang Reddit page, showed what appeared to be a leaked United Auto Workers internal memo. And let's look at the memo. Here it is. So the memo states the following, and it's kind of weird because at the end it kind of gets weird. Launches are never easy, however. With additional 300 plus employees that transferred or were hired at DEP, we successfully launched additional shifts in assembly and machining with little to no concerns. Excuse me. The additional shifts are for increased volume for the Bronco Sport and Maverick. I also anticipate an afternoon shift being added towards the end of 2025. On the niche assembly line, this volume increase is for the 2026 Mustang Shelby GT500. I can't wait until we start building engines for such an iconic vehicle with an engine that will be named the Legend. We have a lot of work in front of us in 2025, and I'm excited for our future DEP. And then on the bottom is really weird. On behalf of the UAW staff from DEP, I would like to extend our deepest condolences for those who have lost a family member or loved one. What the fuck? Did something happen? It's kind of cryptic, and it didn't really allude as to why they even put that up there, but I thought it was kind of interesting. So let's keep reading. Let me take the live chat out so you can actually see it. Here we go. The author of the memo referred to an additional shift being added to the niche assembly line. Why we should care about Ford adding a shift at an engine plant? Well, the extra shift is apparently directly tied to the production of an upcoming 2026 Shelby GT500. The memo continued to say, I can't wait till we start building an engine for such an iconic vehicle with an engine that will be named the Legend. What engine could entail will surely be up for plenty of debate. The last GT500 will use Ford's Predator supercharged 5.2 liter. The GT3 inspired Mustang GTD will use a dry sump version of that 760 horsepower Predator, but pushes the output to 850 horsepower, which is unlikely that Ford will produce a less powerful version of the GT500. But automaker won't want to overshadow the $300,000 plus model. That's a very good point. If the 2026 GT500 makes 1,000 behind the taint, spinal cord horsepower, measuring your dick from the middle of your back, it can't make more than the GTD, right? But it kind of has to. Why? The ZR1. The imminent arrival of the Mustang GTD certainly makes a problem. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's talk about it because let's be honest, we don't need the bullshit. We don't need the minutia. We don't need all that stuff. So if Ford decides to make the GT500 again, what engine will go in it? And I know you guys are going, Godzilla! Mechazilla! Well, let's be honest. On pump gas, what would you need to pass emissions, mile per gallon standards, and make 1,000 horsepower behind the asshole?
Turbos.
Okay, turbos. So I've always said that a Coyote, twin turbo, low compression, turned up. Look, Chevy did it. How did Chevy, who was late to the dual overhead cam game, made a more powerful dual overhead cam NA motor and a dual overhead cam boosted motor? That's embarrassing. That's a slap in the face. When the Coyote has been around since 2011 in vehicles, V8, flagship vehicles, the Trinity GT500 motor, I don't think you could ever make that thing good enough to make 1,000 horsepower, because let's be honest, it's got to do it on pump gas. It's got to do it on pump gas. So how can you make 1,000 behind the asshole horsepower, aka 920 to the wheel, on pump gas? Twin turbos. That's it. So I'm hoping that they went out of their way to really do a whole bunch of vetting to ensure that the next engine will be Billy Badass. Because I can't imagine they're going to take a Mechazilla, whatever the fuck they call it, Godzilla. Mechazilla is the SpaceX thing. The Godzilla, the Superzilla, whatever the fuck they want to call it, pushrod, get 8 miles a gallon with a Whipple out of all things. No way. It's either going to have a TVS, which is not going to make 1,000 behind the asshole horsepower. Why? Because the amount of boost you need on a low-ish compression motor to achieve 1,000 horsepower is well over 20 on a 2650, and the compression has to be so low to make sure detonation and bullshit doesn't happen. And then you're going to have IAT issues. It's going to be a fucking heater. So Ford would be smart to go, they did it with the ZR1. Maybe we were planning to do it, but nothing came to fruition. Nothing came about. Things didn't pan out. But now that Poppy Trump is in there, we got a couple of years of leeway. Let's shove twin turbos on a 9 to 5 compression Illuminator. To be honest, it's a Predator with GT250 heads, 350 cams, Predator cams, and send it down the road with 1,000 at the flywheel, horsepower, 920 wheel. I don't think Ford will do that. I think Ford will be in the... Okay, this is why I don't think they'll do that. The Demon, and then the ethanol Demon, the I forget what it was called. That one made 1,000 horsepower on E85. Very limited production. So are they going to do that? Are they going to make 1,000 2026 GT500s, right? With a big blower, like a big ass blower. I don't know. But I would think twin turbos is the right path. Every shop that matters should buy a 2026 GT500 if it has twin turbos. That is, I don't want to say game changer, but I want to say that one matters. Initially, everyone bought the 2020 GT500, and then you found out it had a DCT. What a fucking piece of shit. And guys that make 1,100 to 1,200 rear wheel horsepower on a dyno barely run 9.0 high 8s. Embarrassing. Where a GT with a 10R80 and about 20 pounds of boost, maybe a little more, traps 150, runs 9.0 or 8.9, beating out a $100,000+ vehicle that makes another 300 horse on top of what they make, and they barely run the same number. So in my opinion, the DCT, unless you look guys, unless you're catering to road racers, I don't know why you would want 1,000 horsepower. 1,000 horsepower. Like, road racers would want a GT350. Like, the DCT belongs in an NA car, a la the GT3. An NA GT350 with a DCT would be a track weapon, and somebody should do it. Somebody should swap a DCT GT350 and have some fun with that and just show what it can do. But who knows what they're going to do, any of that bullshit. But I don't think they're going to shove a pushrod in there. I think that's psychotic. I think a very advanced Coyote, probably the last one, is going to end up in something like that. And if it has twin turbos, it'd be really crazy for shops not to buy this one. I don't know either why they can't. See, Jay, they don't make the DCT. Tremec does. And only after it's been out of warranty period are you now seeing slightly saucier TCMs showing up. That's right. They're shipping out some slightly revised, saucier TCM tuning because it's all Tremec. This is the byproduct of farming out everything to everyone else and not having ultimate control of your product. But I get it, and at the same time, I don't get it. GTRs have a DCT, and they run well into the sevens. They break shit, which means they have clamping force. So I've always said that the DCT on the GT500 does not matter unless you can break it. If you can't break it, then it doesn't matter because you have to start breaking input shafts, secondary drive this and this, that, and that spline and this, that, not just burn up clutches. I'm saying break shit because that tells me, okay, they figured out the clamping power. But now the only ones that have access to it are something like Fat House with their Code Red GT500s. And they have a little saucier TCM from what I've kind of heard rumblings. So I wonder if it'll just be a Coyote twin turbo and figure it out. And why do I say that? Because Fat House proved it out. Here it is. Here it is. Just making emissions legal. Run it through your carb or whatever they call it now. EPA testing. Because Lee Zeldin is in there gunning that motherfucker. Maybe they can give a little money on the side to somebody and say, yeah, pass this sucker through because they did it with the Demon. I can't imagine they're not the 170 it's called. And I just remembered. So I can't imagine if the GT500 comes out again that it's not going to have twin turbos. But maybe they're like, well, that takes away from the allure. It always had a TVS or a blower. Cool story. It's 2026. There's going to be sex robots. There's going to be drones that can kill you and deliver pizza on the same trip. Why can't we have twin turbo GT500s? Okay. Also, I'm just going to run through it. So a couple of days ago, I was scrolling Instagram, looking for chicks, asses, and racist memes. Because let's be honest, that's what Instagram's for. And I came across this post. And you know what? This is so relevant that it hurts me. It does. It's so relevant. This is a post by Only Vipers. And it says, congratulations, but still, fastest American car, manual transmission, is the Viper. And I can't argue against that. One of them is NA. One of them is actually stick and built by Dodge. The other one is built by Multimatic, DCT, supercharged, and an extra 150 or so or maybe more horsepower than the NA car up top. And they actually make extremely great points. Both highly priced vehicles. One is 300. The Viper was what, high 90s when it was introduced as the ACR Viper? It wasn't selling that well. Now you can't touch these motherfuckers for under $200,000 plus dollars. So they made a very good point that the fact that it has a manual NA is still the, 3 seconds or 2 seconds? About 3.5 seconds. That is amazing. Maybe 4.5 seconds. That is amazing. And they make a great point. What does a modded Viper run at the track? Look at that. They show the run. Let me see. Oh, man, that shit was terrible. Boy, they should go out. You know what? And here's the GTD. They really should. Somebody's rich out there. I'm not rich. Somebody's rich out there. Somebody should get Misha or somebody. And is the problem with the Nürburgring that you can't rent out the whole track just for you? Do you have to go on a day where it is full of Volkswagens, Subarus, Evos, BMWs? Like you have to share the track with somebody, or can you just do like a test and tune and be like, yo, this track is mine. I'm renting it out for myself for 2 hours or whatever. And then you have that time slot to make your best run possible, or maybe 4 hours. It might need more time for cool down in case you have other issues, mechanical issues. But I think somebody with an ACR Viper that's not that modded, or maybe slightly modded, maybe headers, ethanol, should go out there and get after it. Stang mode and Misha collab, maybe. So I think that's a very funny post, and it makes total sense. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the GT500 maybe ending up being a twin turbo Coyote variant. Predator. Look, let's be honest. 9 to 5 compression. The current Predator motor twin turbo, you could probably make 900 real horsepower with it. On pump gas with maybe a little sauce, right? Let's say you work out some different cams to pass the air through easier, some interchilling, like Dodge does, like Dodge been doing with all their Hellcats. I don't know how Ford hasn't gone on that game yet. You're still not interchilling, Ford, for $100,000. You're still not interchilling shit. Unbelievable. Should be embarrassed. But a twin turbo, a la the ZR1, I think that's going to be a winner. We'll talk about all that shit. Tremec has DCT locked down, says EPA. Ford Airplane will be dope. The tri-engine was dope. What are we talking about? The 500 gets embarrassed in roll racing. DTD is for collectors and rich gay guys. If they can make 800 horsepower supplement with fun electric motors, they'd be using their brains. They already have technology from the Mach-E. Well, they're talking about the engine being called Legend. So I'm a proponent of hybrid. I think hybrid should have been done years ago. And I can't imagine Ford has still, to this day, have not put hybrid technology in a sports car. Like a legit Billy badass hybrid teched out car. Look at the E-Ray. The E-Ray's making you guys look so stupid. $100,000, all-wheel drive. Put a Maggie on it, put a Magnuson blower on it. There's your 9-second car on the street. That's all you need. 9 seconds on the street is serious. Stop it. The ZF8 is traditional auto Mohammed. What's happening? Doesn't BMW come with a ZF and they can tune it as a BMW? Well, the BMW, old BMWs came with the ZF. Or I don't know what the modern ones come with. If you guys need swap the 6R in a Gen 3 Motec, could you swap a 6R or T56 in a 2020 GT500? So modified by Nick, probably. The problem is okay. This is the problem with the GT500. It has that stupid dial in the center. So whatever that dial does has to be bypassed by Motec. Motec runs through the CAN bus system. So this body control module is looking for this fucking knob in the center of the console. And if it's in P position, you can start the car with a key. Now you put a clutch assembly in and a transmission. How do you custom code clutch stuff into GT500 stuff, right? But the GT500 is a TC298. So the TC298 computer also came in Gen 3 Mustangs. So you might be able to get a Gen 3 manual harness, tie it to the T56, but god damn it, it's not just a swap. And again, you're buying Motec, so you're going to be into just the programming for $9,000 or $10,000. For what? So you could have a T56 in a 2020 GT500? Boy, just buy a GT and put a T56 in that. 50 Legend makes sense. The 50 Legend, hence, is the name. Joe Swish, you got to get on game. Yes, we don't fuck with them anymore. 100% Joe Swish. Get your robot subscriptions ready. Viper also has a third of the pros. Viper also a third of the pros. I said it before. I'll say it again. 701 while missing shifts while EPA just captioned obvious tonight. Didn't know that. Viper was $135,000 new. I didn't know that. I thought it was in the 90s. Unbelievable. The Viper does look good. Oh, and the clutch belongs in a tractor. Vipers has no carbon fibers. No one buying it over GTD. They are flying. Makes me cringe in a good way. What a night. Nothing better than TSD, Theo Alex, and Congress addressing with President Trump. Watch Ford put a Ford GT EcoBoost in the engine, a new Shelby. Oh my God. Don't even kid around about that. You think Ford would have the audacity to put a Ford GT engine EcoBoost twin turbo in there? Oh my God. You want to see the worst selling Ford. You already built the worst selling Mustang of all time in 2024. Why not just put a cherry on top of that shit ice cream and make the worst selling 2026 GT500 of all time worst selling GT500 of all time by making it a V6. AJ says, Alex, considering tire technology advancements, the Viper on a better modern tire probably has more in it. Porsche retested the old Carrera GT on new tires, and the time was vastly different. You're 100% right. Many things could happen, but I don't think anyone is willing to ship their car to freaking Germany, then flog a 10-year-old car, and hope it stays in one piece and not, have issues. You got to get legal officials here to actually record the times. The time Viper was put up was crowdfunded by a couple of owners. I thought Ford lost the license of the Shelby name. Would this be a Shelby American car? I don't think so. I think, well, I don't know. It goes by generations, right? In 2020, there were two Shelby vehicles, the 350 and the GT500. In 2021, the Shelby went away. GT350, the GT500 stayed. In 18 through 23 or 22 or I know there was a Super Snake, but it was a Whipple GT. It was a complete toilet. It was like the worst. You name any Shelby vehicle that wasn't built by Carroll Shelby himself that actually performed better than you thought it would from the factory. Built by Shelby, not by Ford, like using the Shelby licensing of the name. Meaning Shelby American building a car that's badass. They don't build badass cars. They put body kits on current cars and call them Super Snakes or call them R's or whatever, Shelby something. They don't make a car that performs. They're putting BMR parts on fucking new cars. You understand that process? You understand what that means? For those that know, you'd be like, first of all, you're not in the market. It's $160,000. But like, if someone said it is an upgrade to put a BMR cradle lockout on a S550 and try to make me buy for $160,000, boy, you psychotic. Zip folder tech support. Zip folder tech support? Don't know what that means. What is your opinion for X85 on the Pump 85 on a boosted car? Look, guys. E85 is Z85 is Z85. The 85 means 85% ethanol. If you want to get racy 85, get racy 85. Why would I have to change the tune when it's 85%? Oh, but the other 15%, okay, if you want to get into the nitty gritty and maybe me like add timing here and there and like blend it, or you could just put it in and it'll run slightly better based on the fact that it's safer. It's a safety thing in my opinion. I shouldn't have to dial in every single different fuel you put in that has 85% ethanol in it. Like, I love the fact that people like Honda guys, and maybe it's different. Maybe different cylinder head designs are more tolerant, less tolerant to spark, like B58 heads and Honda heads and all this stuff. I live in the Coyote world, so I don't give two shits about anything else but that because that's what I tune, so that's what I speak on. But if you're going to be like, Alex, on Coyotes, if you have an E85 tune, what tune changes would you need to make on Ethanol 1R? Not one fucking thing. Not one motherfucker. Like, why would you have to change anything? Make it make sense. Talk to me.
Not one motherfucker.
I don't know. I don't think so. I was on game, but I forgot the specifics. No need to know the specifics. We just don't fuck with them. Make sure you clip that. That would be the death of the GT500 if it got EcoBoost. They would have brought something cool back, but they decided to badge their EV vehicle Mustang. It wouldn't surprise me if they put a V6 in it. Well, they did say it is a 2026 GT500 motor called Legend. How do you go from Trinity to Predator, which is odd now, right? Kind of weird, to Legend, and then call it, and then it has two less cylinders. It has to have twin turbos. Ford, it has to have twin turbos. It has to be a twin turbo Coyote variant, not flat plane. Stop that. Stop even thinking that flat plane is some kind of advantage. Have you driven a 350? All that awesome torque under 5,000 RPMs that is non-existent? Flat plane was a novelty thing, sound thing, and an RPM thing. But at a light, that thing shakes. It shakes. Harmonics are awful on a flat plane crank motor. So, cross plane, make it bigger. How about 5.5 liter? How about 6 liters? Why not? Why not make a 6 liter? There's your displacement. Maybe the stroke gets adjusted a little bit. Boy, could you imagine? Bigger pistons, slightly bigger stroke. Slightly. Twin turbo. Boy, what a torque monster that would be. One could only dream. One can only dream. I saw a video from who cares, Clint? Why would you even mention that shit on that? Why would you even mention that fucking shit here, bro? What's wrong with you? Shelby SP360. I think it might be branded the Cobra or something else. Sometimes those executives don't know shit about cars. Reddit source as a source is shady, and UAW bulletins are too. Okay, I appreciate that. So every generation vehicle, like the S650, which is an S550 with, it's the same chassis. They fucking got BMR parts on the fucking thing. Every generation vehicle that Shelby American makes a car for, typically Ford doesn't do it. Now, there is precedent. What if Ford brings back the Boss nameplate, knowing there were two bosses that coexisted at the same time? Boss 302, Boss 429. Imagine if Ford is like, Boss 302. Again, there was a Shelby GT350 and a Shelby GT500 in 2020. You could go to a dealership and say, do I want a naturally aspirated GT350 or do I want a supercharged GT500? So they coexisted and had overlap in the same year, model year. So what if the Legend has an NA variant and a boosted variant? Imagine the Legend has, I don't know, 5.5 liters, same stroke, right? 5.5 liters, same stroke that the boosted Legend would have, or let's say a slightly bigger stroke, 5.5 liters. Predator heads, Predator cams, or 350 cams, same cam. And it makes 550 naturally aspirated, or boy, could you imagine? Because again, Chevy has a 600 horsepower NA car that has dual overhead cams in it. So let's say the Boss 302 is a 600 horsepower behind the asshole car. And the Boss 429 is a twin turbo, same motor, just lower compression. Boss 351. Hey, why not a Boss 351 and make it a 5.8 NA? Oof. Could you imagine a 5.8 liter Coyote? And the revving, it's going to have to rev lower because you can't make pistons that big unless the block is completely different. And I'm not imagining they're going to retool the whole fucking plant for this car. But if they stroke it a little more, bore a little more, why can't you have a 600 horsepower naturally aspirated Coyote Boss 351, Boss 302, and Boss 429? The problem is it has to be so different than the other to make it sell, because if you have two vehicles that are pretty close to each other, let's say for instance the Boss 351 has a Legend motor in it, and with 8 pounds of boost it makes what the fucking better motor does. Whipple will be out with it, I'm sure, or ProCharger, who, the OEMs will have their hands on it. But in my opinion, 1,000 horsepower twin turbo Coyote variant S550/650, that's a winner. Every shop would buy that. Absolutely. I think so. Just Radamus marked on the time for 2 Boss options. Could be 2 Boss options and a boosted. Tall deck 351 Coyote with twin turbos, Gen 2 base architecture would be an absolute monster. Better be real special to give up the Heritage R. Rich GT350R. It don't gotta be that special. Heritage. It's just paint. He said Heritage. Get out of here. 5.5, what 01 has to be. 5.5, 5.5 is what 01 has, so that'd be cool. Any version to compete with the Z06 makes too much sense. What's your opinion on buying an 11-toe GT500 or 1213 Boss 302? 1213 Boss 302, by far. Yeah, better transmission gearing, better motor, just a better car. Imagine NA is high compression, 5.5, and becomes the faster one in the end after you boost it exactly a la the 350. Sounds like a Door Course Scat Pack or Door Course Hellcat. Chevy actually cares about enthusiasts. Ford makes cars and coffee cars. You're not wrong after 2024. Legend equals Turvey's 352. Could you imagine Turvey somehow gets a deal and convinces Farley, hey, look, I will build you the best motor, but you got to call it Legend, and you can't breathe down my neck. Because see right here, it says number 2. Means I come in second to nobody. You put a number 2 on your neck to tell people you don't come in second to nobody? Yeah. Okay. Ford has success with the reusing of the 50302. They need displacement. It's time to repurpose 58351 once again. What do you need to make 351 cubic inches out of that block? You need a stroke. The piston comes right out of the bore. It just comes right out the motherfucker. I can't imagine they would do that. Boy, that would be cool, though. We've always talked on this show at length about potentially a big cubic inch Coyote. The problem is deck has to get taller. Hey, yo. You can't use the existing architecture unless you make the piston. Look, I don't know if there's enough room. So I think if they're going to tool this motor, and it is a Coyote variant, but it is just physically bigger, boy, that would be amazing. And I would love it. But I don't know that they'll do it. I just don't think Ford has the cock to do it. They just don't have the nuts. They don't got it. I'm sorry. I don't see Ford being badasses, especially with Jim Farley in charge. I don't see Ford going, yeah, let's get after it. No, I just don't see it, because you have to be willing to lose money. Asking Ford to do something cool. Exactly. Thank you. You took the words right out of my mouth. They just came out with a new stroke 7.3 pushrod, right? Dude, if they put a pushrod motor in a modern sports car to compete against the Corvette. Remember, whatever is above and beyond the GT and the stupid Shelby that Shelby American made with a Whipple on it, of all things, is Corvette competition. GT500 is Corvette competition. If you're going to start making pushrod motors compete with high revving, twin turbo, or high revving NA 600 horsepower cars, you can put the nail in the fucking coffin for this company when it comes to the Mustang will probably just go extinct. Been saying that, you're spot on. The 5.8 Coyote should use the same transmission that comes in the Hellcats. I agree. Regardless of what it ends up in, it'll still have the DCT stuck to it. Let's talk about the transmission. If you're going to make a Legend motor on your Boss Cobra, Boss 429, Boss 351, whatever, what transmission are you going to use, Ford? The awesome 10R80? No. The a 9-speed ZF variant? Oh my God. If Ford wants to let their nuts hang, you put an 8-speed or a 9-speed ZF behind a GT500 with, or a Boss 429 or Boss 302 with twin turbos and a low compression 350 cubic inch Coyote. Fuck. People will mortgage, people that got PPP loans to prop up their shop, people that have liens against their business, people that have dyno jets have liens against their business, people that crash customers' cars will mortgage their complete future to buy that car. Introducing the new Boss 429 with a ZF 9-speed twin turbos, 9-of-1 compression. Boss 429, psh, fuck it. I'm already going to jail, so might as well just buy this motherfucker and hash it out. Bro, it would be pretty bad. World class T5. Someone said, who the fuck said, let me find it. Dude, oh, the thing's freezing. The stream is freezing, so I'm waiting for it to freeze so I can refresh the page. Who the fuck said a world-class T5? Here we go. Just freeze already. There you go. It froze. Time to re-up. Okay. Who said world-class T5? Let me go find this motherfucker. Pop out chat. This thing froze fast. Let me see. So, copy. Who said world-class T5? Fuck. I saw it just flash by. Let me see. Ken Phillips. He said a world-class T5 871 blown 7.3 liter GT500. Oh my God. Could you imagine a big 871? The Australians will buy it tomorrow. Oh, crikey. We've been waiting for this since the California of 9-to-1 compression Coyote. Easy sevens with a built trans at that point. PPP performance. Alex trying to be excited about Mustang futures like Patrick and Squidward looking at SpongeBob through the metal gate. Don't know what the fuck you're talking about because I am 47. With Farley there, we'll have no hope. Imagine the transmission being a 6R80 and a badass manual transmission as option. See, you're never going to see a manual in a 800 horsepower Mustang that weighs 4,200 pounds unless you want nothing but warranty repairs on that transmission. If some psycho green lights the manual on a 4,000 pound car that makes 800 horsepower, you just be ready to have 10,000 more transmissions for warranty repairs sitting in a garage somewhere. Fuck all that. Jay Walker, now let's try to get a Mustang to compete against the base pushrod V8 first before setting sights on a Z06 or Z01, because right now, no Mustang even competes with the base C8. Boy, you know, you're not wrong. Can you imagine no Ford product that currently exists fucks with a Stingray. A Stingray! Not one motherfucker.
Not one motherfucker.
Name a Ford product that they sell in 2024 that fucks with a base C8.
Not one motherfucker.
So, okay. How much is a base, ain't got nothing in it, C8 Corvette? And is that motor the same across the board on all C8 Corvettes that are NA? Non-Z06. So is the base fucking, I don't know, Stingray, are they all the same? Are they all the same 460 or whatever horsepower, LT, whatever the fuck? Right? 55K. Let's go shopping. Cars.com. A base C8 Corvette. What year did they start? Let's go shopping together. Because what I'm saying is Ford doesn't have anything for these cars. Used Chevrolet, Corvette. I don't even know the fucking years. Anyone know the years? I don't know. I'm gay. The 6.2. Yep. Okay, so all of them are 6.2 liter LT, whatever the fuck. C8 base is 70K, 60K, Z51. Z51. What year? Come on, give me the years. 2020. Perfect. 2020. Really? Okay. All miles. Corvette. Okay. Okay. So let's look for a Z51 Corvette. Models. I already looked it up. What year? Years. Minimum price. Okay, 2020 to now. Okay, to newest, 2025. Fuck it. And let's see the highest price. Is there a price? Max price. Let's say $70,000. Okay, look at that. Okay, whoa. How many do we have? That's a lot. Bro, 68,000, just spicy. So $66,000 for a 2LT Stingray, 61,000 for 36,000 miles, 66,000 for. So right now, a 20 to 25 base ass bitch ass can beat a brand new Mustang similarly priced, and it'll beat it in the road course. It'll beat it in everything. Is it pretty? I don't know. It's up to you to decide whether you even like what this looks like. But for the money, the C8 Corvette mops the floor with anything 24 and up Mustang. The problem is the price. Actually, let's look at 20. Let's look for 24. Let's make it apples to apples comparison, because 24 Mustang is all that matters. So we're looking at about a 70. Yeah, exactly. Oh, come on, bro. $69,000, which is basically a door course. This thing will mop the floor with a door course. Door course don't go 11s, and if it does, it's like 11.999999. This bitch goes like 11.7 on the street. DCT. Come on, stop it. 2024, $68,000, $69,000, $68,000. So for high 60s, you can beat whatever Ford has going on right now with a base Corvette. So thank you, Jay Walker. That makes 100% sense. Where if Ford still can't beat the pushrod, why are they aiming high at the Z06 or the Z01? Build something that you can beat the base Corvette, and I don't think they'll do it. 800 horsepower and a manual. Yeah, 800 horsepower and a manual is just going to break everything. Trust me. Ford might not have something to fuck with the base C8, but they do have... Stop it. Now, remember, Alex, compared the C8 to a dark horse price-wise. Yes, correct. 100%. Not a GT. Dark horse. Luckily, I mentioned that. I've seen bone stock C8 go low 11s on the strip. I can't get into one because I can't justify it. See, the next vehicle I buy has to be good for the channel. And I know it might sound gay. If I want a personal vehicle to fuck with, it doesn't make sense to even buy it unless it makes me money right now. So all the vehicles that I have are expendable except the Fairmont. The Fairmont is my pet project. GT500 can go. ZR1 can go. But, you know, it's going to be, I have a Coyote, so I think I'm going to be buried in that fucking thing. And Donnie can go once it runs 8. So once the GT500 runs 8, mission accomplished. Get it out of my life, hopefully. And once Donnie goes 8, get it out of my life. Mission accomplished, hopefully. Then I'll have, you know, some money to play with. But, like, I can't justify a Corvette because the DCT, and I'm going to want to make 800 plus horse. I'll probably talk to Magnus and be like, yeah, let's throw a Maggie in this thing. Okay, cool. Let's throw a Maggie in it. And then, like, the DCT is going to go eat a dick. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not a big fan. And they can be tuned. Exactly. And EPA owns a twin-turbo C8 Corvette right now with CC dubs. They can be tuned now. The 24 Mustang cannot. So, yeah, it's not even close. Remember when Ford was total performance and made 427 sing? No, I don't because I'm not that old. Get into the Genesis for some Toto. Coyote Swap C8 coming to the channel. Oh, bro, stop it. Never. What about four-door sedans that Ford Lincoln can make to compete with the CT5 Blackwing? And Lincoln would make a badass SUV to compete with the Escalade V. Chevy is killing it. How the hell can Ford make an SUV and a sedan be better than Chevy's or GM's Blackwing when they can't make anything right now better than anything Chevy can make? What is the top tier product Chevy makes? ZR1. What is the top tier product Ford makes? Ford, not Multimatic. A dark horse. Fuck out of here. Stupid. We still can't tune DCT to this day. I mean, to this day. To this day.
To this day.
He sounds frustrated.
To this day.
That's the frustration that not tuners, but let's just talk about what an industry-wide debacle it is to have a DCT in a GT500 and try to go fast with that. There are people right now that have a Shelby GT500. It looks fantastic. Got all the bullshit. Got all the carbon. Got all the shit, right? And they do a big, stupid John Force burnout because they're retarded. They got the same forged line wheel setup every other asshole has. It's like copy-paste forged line wheels on every GT500. Like, you guys have no... like, whatever. And then a freaking Mexican comes out of Halliburton in his whippled 10R80 car, second gear leave and a fuel system, and a 3.2 pulley, and gaps the ever-living shit out of that GT500. And you're like, what am I doing? Why am I getting my ass beat by a GT, a DCT? It launches like shit. Some guys go, oh, these don't launch good? And they make a reel of the perfect launches it ever had. Let's make a reel of all the shitty launches. I guarantee shitty launches to good launches is 4-1. For every you have a shut it off. Turn it on. Clutch over temp code. Fuck out of here. You think I don't see what the fuck's happening out there? You don't think I see data logs? That's all I do for 8 hours a day. Data log, videos. Stop it. He had the chance to race at S650 with a new base C8. The C8 edged out the S650 by maybe a half car. It's closer than you think in a straight line. Then the motherfucker in the... Dude, the DCT has launch control. Ain't no fucking way a 10R80 car that runs 12.0 with a guy in a DCT that has launch control it's even a close race. Psychotic. Watch Legend be a slightly better Predator. GTD, SCD, Boss 360, don't matter. E-Ray in F. Yeah, exactly. E-Ray's king, in my opinion, because I'm dripping. Sorry. I can't imagine paying $100,000 for an NA06. It's crazy. It's crazy. The ZR1 is going to be 200 plus. Then the dealers are going to get their greasy, gross, grimy. We just inflated a bunch of balloons and made a bunch of popcorn so that you can come into our dealership and get fucked. Hands on it. And then you have an E-Ray, a hybrid all-wheel drive car that goes tens. Stop it. It's not even a competition. GT500 running Super Pro at WSOP this weekend. Never made a clean pass. DCT is whack. Really? I would have loved Ken Phillips. If you got a timestamp, Ken Phillips. If you got a timestamp, I'll find that fucking car and put it on this. Was the twin turbo kit worth it? Thinking about doing. Okay, what's happening? Yeah, I agree, Paul. 2025 BMW M240 is probably the best performance value under $55,000. Alex, at least you're not burning down your garage like some other asshole. Cough. What? Look, if someone burned down their garage, good on them. I don't care. Baker, what does Ford have to do with you to jump ship? Jump ship from? I already jumped ship from Ford. What do you mean jump ship? To Ford? What does Ford have to do for me to give a shit about Ford again? Get rid of Jim Farley, which he'll never do for me, because who the fuck am I? I don't want that person leading a company I'm going to give $100,000 to. So, yeah, that's number one. And then make a car that's tunable. Not just for me. Look, do you think I'm going to tune forever? No. There's going to be one day that, either the Lunds are like, I'm done. I'm just going to go fly around in my plane. Junior's going to just want to just do lawn stuff and tune like on the side. Junior could probably tune on the side and make $300,000 a year. And then like make the best looking lawns ever. And, I'll just do something else. But for the industry, I think there should be just tuning available for everybody, because then that makes people make parts. That makes software companies support it even more. You'll have a slight boom because of the availability of tuning. HP tuners, SCT, all those people will be like, fuck yeah, now we got DCT tuning. Now we're gonna get after it. But what happens? They just don't. And I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon, because when I hung out with the Lunds last week, I heard nothing about available tuning for 24. That scares me. Not for, work. I'll live. I'll be fine. But for the industry, if you are stuck with a Whipple tune with 55-pound Predator injectors, I don't have to tell you what the limitations of that car is. Oh, but we've been eights. Cool story. I would never, in a responsible fashion, let's say I would say a service rider that cared about you, which none of them do. I would say, bro, I'm not going to push your car to 1,000 horsepower with 55s. It's just not. Sorry. I don't care what fuel pump voltage booster is in it. I don't care. I am not going to push a Predator 55-pound injector to make 800 wheel. That's crazy talk. So I'm not going to push E30 either. I'll push race gas if I'm going to push anything. So, and then tuning for the transmission, fuel system, trans brake converter, gone. So Circle D could probably say, here, install this converter in your 24 Mustang. It will launch better. 100%. How will it drive? I want the car not to lock up in third. I want it to lock up in fourth. I want part throttle lockup to be gone until fifth gear. Can't do it. So those people miss out because tuning is throttled back. That's the reason I want it to be tunable. Who cares about me? Who cares about me? Michael Hadziki, what's up, brother? He's the guy that got me the laptop. Still kicking ass. Love it. Sorry, man. What does Ford have to do for you to never tune for them and move somewhere else? Baker, I work for Lund Racing. I don't want. Listen to these words very carefully. I don't want to tune another platform for customers. If I can't tune for Lund Racing, I don't tune. I have 0.0 interest in becoming a tuner of all platforms. I don't care. That is not my passion. I tune for Lund Racing. I like them as people. If I can't tune for them, I don't tune. I go back to sticking carburetors on things and be a happy motherfucker. Because what's my cold start fuel? 2 pumps of the fucking carburetor and it just starts. Fuck that. And that's tuning, but at a more analog level. And I think that's cool. Call me crazy. I think that's cool. Cool builds like that. I think tuning is good if you like minutia, highly detailed, ultimate control. That's not me. That's not me. Give me all the fuel, dump it in there, carburetor-ish, AFR, go fast. Because the most redneck hillbilly motherfuckers are typically the fastest guys. And they're not smart at all. They literally let Holly relearn from base, rev it a couple times, go what? Go. And the correction is probably ass cheeks. Alex, I used to catch all the lives. Now I'm getting a second degree in biochemistry and soon off to medical school. And I appreciate all the laughs and car content. Your longevity is inspiring. Yeah, I'm passionate about this. This gets me going. So if I was to stop tuning for whatever reason, I would just do this more full time, more content. It's creative. It's great. It's a good time. Because I need you to tune GM or BMW. Never. Dude, you don't want me tuning any of your shit because I'd call you a homo ASAP. No offense. If the new 240 becomes DI and PI, that's a massive upgrade. Oh, who cares about Turviate? Who gives a shit? He's going to talk. Fuck it. New GT500 going to have a 3-valve. Mr. Ripple says, hey, Alex, just now installed the motor in my car and stepped back, and I seen the crank support always says Amory. Pretty cool. Come on. Of course it says Amory. BMW is going to do everything right, and Ford is just dead in the water. I don't know. Jay Walker, is it true that BMW is throttling back power on their newer cars? Like, I saw like a reel somewhere or something somewhere where they throttle back power, or is it the same thing where the computer is locked for another 2 years? Garrett says 2026 GT500 featuring the newest 3-valve iteration in the world-class T5. Definitely much better drivability with a tune when you've got a converter. Correct. A lot of people, they buy a converter, put it in the car, and because of its inherent higher stall speed, it has a more pronounced lockup. And, you guys use the word bog so much in the wrong context that it blows my mind. A bog is when you floor it and the car goes nowhere. Boom. That's a bog. If the car does not accelerate at part throttle because it shifted early, that's not a bog. Stop saying that. Village Bali says, I gave up on modding engines and I got something in stock form factor that's quick with a warranty. Anything breaks, it's their problem. So, yeah, but then that means you're slow. That's all. No, Christian. Ford be like, introducing the new Coyote 6 Cam 8-valve. Why talk about this legend Mustang if we still don't have a tunable Mustang GT? Here's the worst part. We already March 2025 and do not have a single peep on 2024 Mustang. Yep, exactly. And you're right. You're 100% right. But look, we need something to talk about. So, has there ever been a platform that the later model years got tuned before the early model years? Meaning tuning became more available. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think the last time I could remember something being easier to tune was the 94 and 95 GT as compared to the 96 and up GTs. The 94 and 95 GTs had a weird computer, wasn't really tune friendly. Y'all had motherfuckers with chips and shit. And that's what's going to have to happen. On the 24 GT, you're going to go back to, and I saw Greg Banish talk about this on one of the Monoxide episodes. I just saw a clip, and he's right. The industry is going to do whatever it needs to do to get around the lack of tuning. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a 24 GT with a Whipple, full build, and it's running 890, but you're looking at the AFR number and you're like, God damn it. Well, you shove meth down its throat for a fuel supplementation. You just shove meth down its throat. It'll cool the intake air temp. It'll supply a little more fueling, and you adjust the nozzle based on what your AFR readings look like. So who gives a fuck about the fuel trims? At the end of the day, you just want to make sure the car does not explode. So you're like, man, AFR is creeping up there. It's not an injector deal. It's not a fuel rail deal. I'm sorry, it's not a fuel rail or a fuel. It's fuel delivery. Okay, well, if it's fuel delivery, supply external fuel to it and just log AFR. So you're going to get people tricking the computers to achieve the proper outcome. And then when proper tuning comes out, are you ready for it? It's not going to go any quicker. That's right. What is going to happen is if you're doing all the aftermarket tricks to go faster per se, when proper tuning comes out, it's not going to go any quicker. Now, will it drive better? Yes. Can you do an NA E85 blah, blah, blah? Yes. Can you adjust the trans tuning? Yes. But we're talking about racing. And when it comes to racing, nobody gives a fuck about drivability. They will literally sit there and just clean out. I love guys that clean out a fuel injected motor. Like when you do a burnout, and then you go, rung, rung. What the fuck are you doing? Just clearing it out. Clearing what out? Fuel injected. Unless you have ID8000s in it and it's just puddling. Clearing it out. Clear out your fuel injected LU47 car. Bring back super chips, but for 2027, the M cards will require a second OPF. What's an OPF? Will the soon-to-be-released RTR twin turbo enable some tuning? Let's get out of here. Fishbowl. Nothing 24 and up will have tuning. RTR does not have access to any fucking tuning. Zero. They are a badge up, wheel, canard company.
Not one motherfucker.
Access to tuning. Zero. He's talking about RTR. Well, do 20-year-olds think RTR is Roush? Y'all think it's an engineering firm? Calibrated maths injectors inbound. Do you think it'll be safe to run no OPGs on ESS G2, 120mm, GT500 injectors in the back? Yeah, well, you're making a whopping 600 horsepower. Oh, fuck. You need oil pump gears for that. Right, what do you think Roush does? Roush runs a 2650, has run 9s with stock oil pump gears. An ESS G2 with a 120mm pulley, a whopping 500 horse, you're good. Just don't ride the limiter. JB4 is coming to the rescue, not going to lie. If they refine it, it'll be popular. JB4 works great as a piggyback. MHT is still better. Turvey has the internet, right? Who cares? Oxygen particulate filter. Oh, no. A GPF? Gasoline particulate filter? It's like a cat, but worse. Garrett L says, commenting on a Facebook Mustang page saying the 2025 Mustang lineup is ass because they ain't tunable was the worst mistake I've made this week. Oh, yeah, you probably got jumped on. You probably got the fucking mouth breathers telling you you're gay. You don't know what you're talking about. You're listening to that dumbass YOLO. Meanwhile, I've been right about every single thing on that car. Every single thing. I told you a 2650 TVS will perform the same as a Whipple, and it has. Oh, but it needs more boost. It's a smaller blower. So if you put a 2.6 upper, 15%, and meth, hey Roush, why don't you just sacrifice one of these Mustangs to the Mustang gods? Brent Speed. Hey, Brent Speed, let's talk. Are you doing okay? You good? You got some money? Why don't you take a 24 Mustang with a launch edition supercharger, put filters on it, do what Whipple does, 2.6 upper, the Magnuson blower basically, 2.6 upper, 15%, 8 rib, shove meth down his throat, and go for an 8-second pass. And AFR will be 0.77. Adjust the nozzle probably. Bro, dude, like, why not? That's what it takes. These motherfuckers got inner chillers and all this bullshit and booster pumps. Like, they have a nuclear power plant at the FPDM. The fuel pump drive module has element 115 attached to it, providing enough voltage so those Predator 55s go for that 1 8-second pass. Do you tune 03 Cobras? Fuck no. Well, might as well just fuck myself in the ass. Do you tune 03 Cobras? Why don't you just ask me if I tune Fox bodies at that point? If it has a Coyote, it will, Dave. Culo particulate filter. Garrett L says, the knowledge from this channel is not permeating to the mouth breathers on that page. I feel like I'm hovering above them all. The main reason I am in no Mustang pages anymore. So there used to be a time, guys, sit down. Let's talk about this. About 15 years ago, 2010, 11, 12, 13, there were these things called internet pages. They're like applications, but on the internet. You literally would type corral.net, svtperformance.com, and stangnet.com. Who is old enough that remembers you'd get up every morning and the first thing you do is go to stangnet.com, log in, go to the for sale threads and see what they're talking about. Then after you're done through that, you go to corral.net. Go to corral.net, read up on that. Then finally, where the most pretentious assholes were located, you go to svtperformance.com. Then you got rich GT500 homosexuals and everyone and their mother thinks they know everything about anything, but you typically came across really nice parts there. If you wanted a set of Bogarts, they probably an SVT Performance. If you wanted a set of like really nice cylinder heads, SVT Performance, Corral, Stangnet, they were for other people, right? Back then, you would look at those web pages as knowledge based. You would learn something. Someone would get flamed if they said something stupid. If someone called their boss to get them fired, they would get totally shamed. You would look at the bottom of the page and go, holy shit, there's 100 pages. And you'd have to go through the pages like, oh, look at this guy said this, right? Now, the dumbest motherfuckers are on Facebook. The least knowledgeable are on Instagram. The most retarded mouth breathers are on TikTok. Where are the people with knowledge? They're probably hovering around wondering, where can we drop some knowledge? I think a lot of those guys are in the industry, meaning they just have a shop, or they tune, or they just kind of like are on the periphery and they got sick of it all because a bunch of young, dumb know-it-alls got Instagram, chased clout. Clout chasing wasn't that big of a thing. The closest thing I ever saw to clout chasing on those forums is some asshole posted up his cars with the bread of that car's country origin on the hood of a car. You homo. Yeah, you got money. You're so gay. I'm like, this is the gayest post I've ever seen. And the people were like, oh my God, you're such a fucking god that you put Italian bread on the Ferrari. You put sauerkraut on the fucking German car. Like, oh my God, you're stupid. I just said that and said, okay, this is the end. It got real gay. And people were sucking that guy's dick, grabbing the shaft right by the base, and then grabbing the top, and then doing the twistity twist. Stop it. Get the fuck out of here. I was like, I'm done with this fucking bullshit. Still use some stagnant forums to help out my 67 Mustang build. Porsche was forced to add a second OPF to the 911 GT3, lost 20 foot-pounds of torque. They raised the MSRP by 30,000 or out and are using the trans out of the 911 ST to shorten the ratios to keep performance similar. I actually found a thread on ST Performers of people praising Lund Senior a bit ago. Yeah, those are interesting. He used to go off of Dust Off 4.9, I think, back in the day. Dust Off 4.9 because he was a Dust Off pilot. I think that's like the not the call sign, but like the kind of naming structure of a medevac helicopter pilot. Could have sworn the parts binned it. They didn't use super. Okay, I read on the pages that hump delete made them do a wheelie. If you don't know what a hump delete is, take out your shorty headers after your knuckles are bleeding. After you take off the shorty headers on a Fox body, reach into the port of an E7 head and do like this, as if you're with a girl. You know what you do with a girl? You go up a little bit, in and up. You're gonna feel a hump up there on the E7 head. People would like listen to this, guys. You want to listen to the most psychotic thing Fox body guys did back in the day? They would remove the cylinder head, put it on a bench somewhere, and grind down that hump and stick it back in the car with a BBK shorty and think they did something worth a whopping 2 horsepower. Yeah, that guy was a homo. Oh, that guy was great. The old forums are so great. Now social media is all trash. Tuned by Blah says, just a lot of people blasting misinformation about stuff they don't fully understand. Right. So, like, I'll give you an example. In the ticket system, I think is where the remnants of forum dwellers are. Not my ticket system, but all tuning ticket systems. Because if you know a little bit about tuning, that is dangerous, right? I'll give an example. Let's say you know how to read a log a little bit. So you get SET Live Link Gen 2, you download it to your laptop, you put your LRX tune in there, then you start looking at AFR. You start looking at AFR. I don't look at AFR until I look at the short trims and fuel pressure, if it's a Gen 3. RPM, short trims, fuel pressure. Fuck AFR. And then I'm looking, okay, flat, not spiking, fuel pressure's going up. Okay, then I look at AFR. AFR looks pretty good, 0.77, 0.79, okay, it's happy. So guess what people do? They look at AFR and they go, hey, it went lean there. And then I'm like, you hit traction control. So the throttle shut. Yeah, but why did AFR go lean? Because throttle shut. So then they go to some other shop and say, look at this log. I don't trust my tuner. Look. And then the shop will say, you need to add 20% there. I'm like, excuse me? Why do I need to add 20%? Because I see your command versus actual. Where do you see the command? The command is in the tune. The data log does not show the command. EQ ratio. Shut the fuck up. I'm telling you. It's difficult sometimes to keep your patience, and I totally would understand because it's not a hard job in terms of physical. It's hard on the brain and the care level. And let's talk about that. The biggest difference between a good tuner and a bad tuner is the care level. A guy with an ESS kit hit me up. Alex, this car is only running 6.9, 60 to 130. And I've seen others run 6.2, 6.3. So I could have gone, okay, well, maybe your car's heavier. Maybe, okay, send me a log. And I see his car shifting at 7,200 RPMs. I look back at the tune and I'm like, that's not the command. Hey, now I care. Did you sample that with advanced track on? Yeah. Shut off advanced track and relog it. And sample a new 60 to 130. Son of a bitch comes back, says it ran 6.3. The care level. I couldn't have cared if I couldn't care less, if I don't have the ability to care less, I would just say, well, whatever, that's what it is, make more power. But I said, okay, let's care about it. That's the difference in tuning. It's the care level. And once you lose the fire to care, you should get out of tuning. I think people just regurgitate misinformation, says Slow99, from companies that are trying to sell parts. Then that info trickles to anyone that believes it. That's the other thing. Companies that sell parts only know what the tuner tells them. The tuner buys the car. The tuner vets the car. The tuner buys the parts. The tuner vets the parts. Then the tuner says to the company, this is what we recommend to run this number. Parts companies need to make sales. So they'll see what has the best margin. So when we recommend a 1050X ID 1300, well, the parts company will recommend a D-Twerk 95 or FIC. Nothing wrong with those injectors, but maybe there's more margin in that, so you need to make a sale. So then guess who this gets dumped on, and it has to work? The tuner. So now you get into a pissing contest between the tuner and the parts company. Right? Like, the tuner has 7-second cars with this combo. You change something, and all of a sudden, that car doesn't go 7s. And you wonder why. Well, make it the same as all these other guys. It will run that number. When you don't make it the same as these other guys that are running that number, you won't run that number. Trump talking shortly. Yeah, go watch Trump. I know I'm gonna lose about 100. Yeah. I thought he started already. Mini by Madman. Rad Dad. German makes call it an oxygen. Okay. The difference between a good tuner and a bad tuner. Good tuner don't burn down a shop while tuning. Wait, can someone just tell me what happened so I don't have to watch the worst gingivitis of all time to see what's happening? He's going on now. Millwright mentality. Lund tuning where Alex cares. Oh, don't criticize vendors in the forums. You'll be banned off rip. Around here, we ban the vendors, Joe. Absolutely. Around here, we ban vendors all the time. So, care level. Care level is one of those things that happens. Okay. When competence is high on the builder and the care level is high on the tuner, you get a great combo. Look, just today, this car is blowing up all over the internet, and shout out to him. He's a good guy. Shift Media made a video of this car, and I knew it was going to blow up because this thing is just bonkers, right? The noises it makes, the way it looks, everything is just fantastic. So let me see if I could find the video. Is it on my page? Is it on my page? Can I find it on my page? Because I was asked to collab on it, and let me see. Yeah, okay, check it out. If you go to my page, the last post, the most current. This is this car. This is Hush Money's old motor just making its rounds on the internet. And this car is just sounding good, doing all the right shit. And check it out. I'm gonna lower the chat. I'm gonna let y'all listen to some of the clips that this guy made. You know that car? That's the car I tuned for Lund Racing. And it's the guy who videoed that is Shift Media with a 5 instead of an S. Change your name. I don't like that name. Here it is. You guys, okay, indulge me for 3.5 minutes. This is a wonderful video. We're going to play all the way through. Get your popcorn. Check it out. It's very well made. It's basically highlighting a car. And this is what the gentleman at Shift Media does. This is his business. He wants to make it a business. If you have a badass car and you want like a, greatest hits of your car. So I'm going to play this 3 minutes. Let's just sit back and watch and listen. It's a good time. And the ending is awesome. Okay, I want you to see something. Look at the Speedo on the right. This Speedo is accurate. Again, I repeat, the Speedo is accurate. It is not a stock Speedo. It is accurate. And then later on in the video, I'm going to show you why this is important. Okay, look at the Speedo. So that is Shift Media. If you give this guy a follow, Shift Media with a 5HIFT Media, give him a follow. He basically wants to make this a business, and he took the gentleman's car and made a highlight video of it. And at the end, he highlighted, I think, the next car that he is going to highlight on his channel is his Gen 5 Viper. If you looked at the video, go back to his garage. He has a Gen 5 Viper, cammed, head, tuned, just done up. And that's going to be the next car he's going to highlight. So hopefully he's going to do a good job highlighting that car, but he does good work. So I think he's, trying to make it a business. So I'm trying to give it a bit of a shout out, but it's pretty badass. No, I'm not looking to drive that car. I don't want to break nothing. I'm good. I am a freaking gorilla when it comes to shifting. Okay, so I am not going to drive that car. I want that car to live a long life. I'm not going to drive that car. No, thank you. Shifts cleaner than my weld pin. The owner of that Fox is gripping for sure. 116 to Fox, not fun. No, but somebody on late model restoration picked up that video, gave credit, has over 120,000 views on their page on Facebook. And it's getting a lot of popularity because it's a clean Fox. Rotisserie like a psychopath. Hush Money's motor surviving, thriving. You saw that it made 949 or whatever horsepower recently on a 2.9 upper 15%. We backed it down to an 800 on that video. It was probably making 700 because it had a spinning a belt that was spinning. A belt that was slipping. Apologies. So now it should make another 40 horse. So it should be like a high 5 or mid 5 second 60 to 130 car with 800 horse, 900 horse. It just wouldn't hook. It would just spin all of second gear. So maybe in third gear he can make a hit, go fours for content. But man, you don't want to get in trouble doing shit like that. The Coyote 01 needs to this treatment when it's finished. Exactly. I'm getting close. Jake finally got his shop moved to at Stewart. So hopefully I can get the motor mounts done. Once the motor mounts are in this bitch and the oil pan headers get done, then I have a decision to make. Let's be honest, guys. I have to decide if I'm going to do twin turbo or blower on the Corvette. This is why. I have a GT500. It's got a blower. Donnie is going to have a blower. The ZR1 probably should have a blower. But, I don't want to have, I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if I should just take my TVS that was ported by Kong, use the Department of Boost lower on it. But that blower doesn't look good on the Corvette. The blower, in my opinion, needs a front feed blower at TVS, definitely. But Jake was talking to me about twin turbo stuff, and I'm like, you bastard. Random question. I plan on getting a Lund tune soon. Is there a way I can ask for you to be able to tune it? Genuinely curious. Yes, you can ask, but there's no guarantee that you'll get me, but you can ask. We got everybody tuning now. We got everybody on board with tuning. We wanted to have some continuity and some redundancy. So now Devin tunes. Nardi tunes, Junior and I tune. So, everyone tunes in that motherfucker now. I've collected all the parts of GT500 Swap my second gen Lightning. Is it worth it to go 4-valve 5.0 or 5.8 over the 2-valve with the twin screw? And so how do I get to tune it? Look, 5.4, I would get a 5.4 if you can swing it. As long as the computer is a copperhead, we can tune it as long as you get the proper control pack. I think Ford Racing makes a control pack for the GT500. I need this man to do edits for me. The video quality, that's what he's great at. Turbo, twin turbo, 2650 all day. See, that's the problem. Jake not working on cars anymore. It's the best decision he ever made. You're not wrong. Do you want to go through that turbo work again after the white car fiasco? I wouldn't be doing any of it. I'd literally send it out to the guy who built the Grey Goose turbo kit. But I told him I want exhaust. It's going to have to go through the stock exhaust, not bullhorns. Fuck a bullhorn. Blower would be easier. Turbo would be sweet. Alex, hope you're tuning into the big T after shit's getting good. Yes, I'm going to tune in. I'm going to probably just rewind and go back. Turbos probably will extend the build a bit. Yeah, but it's all good. A certain shop that kept burning holes in piston 3 times just really dissed their tuner and then went to Haltech because of all the safeties built in. He just burnt another hole in a piston. A certain shop that kept burning holes in pistons 3 times discreetly dissed his tuner and then went to Haltech because all the safeties built in. He just burnt another hole in a piston. Slow down, who is it? I want to know. They're probably dissing Lund. Blower would make it feel more like an LS torque, or you could go centrifugal. I would literally never go centrifugal in a Corvette. Sorry. It looks cheap. Love your ESS, guys. A Century looks cheap. Just bought a Roush 2.3 on a 50 GT. Is it worth to get rid of the old GT500 thought about to get a VMP twin 67 and 79mm pulley? Riding on Chrome, get a Ford Performance CJ65. Avoid the VMP stuff. Yes, no, I would never put in a wish blower on a ZR1. Even though it probably run really good, I would never. Yeah, I'm thinking about it because Ryan Eckhart, very talented guy. And he's going to make the headers. So the plan is this. Get the motor in there. Clutch, all done. Ship it up to Lund Racing. Ship it. I drive it up to Lund Racing. I would put it up on the lift for him. I would probably rent the lift from John so he doesn't feel like he's getting duped out of a lift. And then I would tell Ryan, can we shove? And it doesn't have to be big turbos. It doesn't have to be big badass shit. It could be like, you know, enough to make 1,000, which is like twin 55s or twin 60, like nothing big. Spool up fast, make torque, make power. And, but the caveat is it has to run to the back. It has to run to through the stock exhaust. If not, I'll stuff a blower in it. Maybe Magnuson's willing to, throw another blower this way, but we'll see. What did Slow 99 say? Did he say anything? No. You catch Javante last weekend? I did not. Sorry, I heard he got knocked down, but he said there was grease in his hair. So, he just took a knee or whatever. Not even a torque storm. Not even a torque storm. Essentially does look out of place in a Corvette. Alex is kind of right. Torquestorm said they'd give 2 blowers for the ZR1 double storm. Ghost Cam ESS, double storm. Twin turbo Coyote Vet would probably kill everything on the street. You're making me think about it because the Lunds have everything. They got twin 67s laying there, and Ryan is like, I'll make something happen. But again, no turbos in the fenders, undermount, super custom. But I'll talk to Ryan. I'll see what the deal is. All I need to do is get a air to air. I could do air to water with a heat exchanger like a. I could probably use the lower from Department of Boost. I could probably use the lower from Department of Boost, get a hat that bolts onto the manifold, and that is my air to water intercooler using a heat exchanger. Because that's what others have done, and it actually works out pretty good. All right, I'm going to get out of here. We'll watch Trump's speech in a little bit. Apparently, a lot of people went over there to take a look at it. So today we talked about the Legend motor supposedly going in on 26 GT500, supposedly. But I don't think the Shelby name will be used if Shelby is using it for the 350 model. So it might be a Boss. Could be a Boss NA, Boss boosted. And that'd be cool to see a 600 horsepower NA Boss and a 1,000 horsepower boosted Boss. That'd be cool if they did that. Or Cobra, but I don't think they could get away with that because how do you do an NA Cobra versus a boost? I think Boss 302 or Boss 351 and a Boss 429 or whatever the hell you want to call it, Boss 1000, whatever you want to call it. As long as there's an N8 and boosted variant, I think it'd be good because you are up against Corvette and you don't have anything currently that holds a candle to the base Corvettes that are out there. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys on Thursday. YDBT Daily. We'll hang out then, see what happens. We'll see what the Donald Trump talked about, see if Canada gets all mad about bullshit, and we'll catch up on all the shenanigans back on Thursday. Have a good rest of your night. I will see you guys on Thursday. Bye.